London. Winter. Rain and soot-covered trees outside. Inside, icy cold lino and bills. I needed coffee. I needed to be living in the south of France, breakfasting on my balcony overlooking the blue Mediterranean. I just kept telling myself today's the day everything changes. Only I still didn't feel like going out into that wet, cold morning. I should have taken my mother's advice and listened to my heart. If I had, then I'd never met Jay and seen the light. And a lot of people would still be alive and drinking coffee today.
The Ipcress File by Len Deighton. Adapted for radio by Mike Walker, with Ian Hart as the agent.
Thanks. I had to wait 40 minutes for a taxi. They hated going south of the Thames. I never liked telling the cabbies War Office, so I got them to drop me outside a nearby pub. It was too early for a drink, but at least it had stopped raining. So my best, my only, dark blue worsted suit didn't get soggy as I walked round to Whitehall. Army intelligence was still Army. The war had been over nearly 20 years, but nothing much had changed. Passages like long public lavatories, regulation paint, bullshit and paperwork.
Yes?
The man I'd come to see, Major Ross, my boss, for roughly the next 10 minutes.
Well, now, take a seat. Smoke?
Ross was regular Army.
No, thank you.
Sir? Which meant he didn't drink gin after 7:30. Oh.
No. Decided to go AWOL, eh?
Not exactly, sir. It's another job.
For another intelligence agency. Civilians. Who are they? W. Pooh?
He knew exactly who they were. WOOC bracket P, sir.
Oh. Dolby.
Mr. Dolby, yes. He runs it.
Oh, like a bloody private kingdom. I meet the man at joint intelligence briefings. He's smug, you know? Can't be doing with smug. Plays things close to his chest.
And Army intelligence doesn't.
At least we answer to some authority. I suppose they'll give you a car.
I suppose so. He didn't like me.
Oh.
I was too everything he wasn't. But he didn't want to let me go. That's intelligence for you. Never let an asset go.
Assign these. And the carbons. Well, then, just be careful, all right? These WOOC bracket P Johnnies think they're all film stars. They're not. Bullets hit them as hard as they hit anyone else. Oh, and how do you feel about brass bands? Mind you of home, I suppose.
Sir?
Well, then, off you go.
Dolby's place was in one of those sleazy long streets that would be Soho, if Soho had the strength to cross Oxford Street. The door mentions Ex-Officers Employment Bureau, Acme Films Cutting Rooms, B. Isaacs Bespoke Tailor. Ross was right. I'll always associate Charlotte Street with the music of the colliery band that I remember from my childhood.
Hello, old chap. You're the new squid, eh? Chilcot Oaks, Chico. Mr. Dolby said to come on up.
The band?
Dispatch and drivers. Love the stuff. Can't stand it myself. Brass bands, miners, all those dreadful things.
Things?
Well, you know.
My dad was a miner, until his chest forced him to stop.
Ah. Why don't you go on through?
Breeds whippets now.
Really?
No, we run to second-hand bookshop.
Alice, this is the new...
Thank you, Chico. I know who he is. Go on through, please. Owen, could you take this in with you?
She gave me a mug of instant coffee.
Is that for me?
I hope it's not for me. Dolby was still public school, but strictly minor. He even went so far as to wear a ring on his little finger.
I'm sure you'll love it here.
I have a clean mind and a pure heart. I get 8 hours sleep a night, and I will be a loyal and diligent employee and will attempt every day to be worthy of the trust my employer puts in me.
Just remember, I make the jokes. Think you might be able to start off with a tricky little assignment?
If it doesn't demand a classical education, I might grope around it.
I can see why Major Ross was so keen to let you go.
And why you were so keen to get me.
Let's hold the keen until we see just how good you are, shall we?
Abide with me.
Hmm?
The brass bandits playing Abide with me.
Well, they do. And a certain biochemist doesn't. Home Office are worried sick. Left home at 7:45 last Tuesday and never arrived at the lab. Alice, open a file on this morning's Wandering Willie and give me a code name.
One of the reasons I wanted to work with Dolby. No faffing around. I like that kind of efficiency.
1033 Raven.
Thank you, Alice. Here's Raven's ID picture.
Looks like any one of 100.
He's good, very good. They don't want to lose him.
And Home Office want us to help.
Of course not. But if we found him, got him back, then the Home Secretary would almost certainly have to disband his own confused intelligence department.
And we could add their files to ours.
Exactly, and do a far better job of it.
And how do we find him?
Well, what would you do?
Go to suburban home. Wife doesn't know what's got into him lately. Discover dark, almond-eyed woman. Bank manager wonders where he's been getting all that money. Fist fight through darkened lab. Glass tubes that would blow the world to shreds. Mad scientist backs off to freedom holding vial. Flying tackle by me. Up music, rule Britannia.
J. East European. We think Ruthenian. Mid-50s. Operated both sides during the hot and now the Cold War. Crosses frontiers like some people cross football pools.
You've never done a football pool in your life.
Research.
And J as Raven.
Yes.
And?
You think I might have one of your dreadful French fags? You remember the Jesuit motto?
Where the end is lawful, the means are also lawful.
Go and buy this Raven for me.
From Jay?
From anyone who has him, I'm broad-minded.
And how much can I spend, Dad?
Jay's a bright fellow. He'll have our man on ice for a week till it's safe to move him. And, after all, he's a businessman. If he gets a better offer, say £18,000, you can go up to 23. Payment after delivery, Swiss bank, and we'll pick up Raven from anywhere, no questions. But undamaged.
So, I'd better find Jay.
All done. Alice, what's Jay doing now?
Just ordering a double espresso in Lederer's coffee house. He's at the table in the far corner.
Thank you. So, just pop across to Soho and pick up a biochemist. Oh, and I'm authorising you for £1,200 a year expenses, and don't ring home if anything goes wrong. I don't want to know.
Another reason why I wanted to work for Dolby. £1,200 expenses. My father didn't earn that much in a year. I'd come a long way, across Oxford Street and through Soho Square. I bought some Normandy butter and garlic sausage and a New Statesman, and wandered into Lederer's like I wasn't trying to buy a scientist.
She's marvellous in small parts.
I ordered Russian tea with lemon and sat down. Jay was there across the room, looking at me, stroking his moustache. I had the feeling he already knew everything. We waited. I ordered apple strudel. We waited. I ate the strudel and drank the tea. Jay didn't make a move, so... Excuse me. Beamish.
Smiling, well cared for. As in Alice in Wonderland, my Beamish boy.
Stanley Beamish. Is there someone we can talk?
Henry Carpenter. Both ridiculous names, I agree.
I have a financial proposition to put to you. A big man with big, scarred hands and knowing eyes.
You shall take me to lunch.
I can't. My expense account hasn't come through yet.
Really? How much is it?
£1,200.
A year?
Yes.
Not enough. Ask them for double.
I will.
I know somewhere very cheap.
Jay could have bought me lunch at somewhere very expensive, but it never even occurred to him.
Come along, Mr. Beamish Stanley.
They're naked and they dance. 12 lovely girls, all naked, all dancing. Striptease, the genuine article. They take them off and they dance. This way, gent.
Down here.
They're naked and they dance. 12 lovely girls, all naked, all dancing. Striptease.
Well, you said cheap.
From Hamburg, the Bamboo Club presents Miss Hildegard, Mistress of Leather.
From Bedford, Miss Doreen, Mistress of Bry Nylon.
When she commands, you will obey.
Wait here. I won't be long.
I hope not. The excitement might prove too much. I sat through the Mistress of Leather. The Mistress of Pain. The Mistress of Too Many Chip Butties. And I began to wonder, what was I doing here? What was I really doing here? That's one of the problems in our business. You never quite know which side you're on until the fat lady loses her G-string. I looked around. A bored, fat businessman sat drinking at the bar. A few sad men had sat at tables in the shadows drinking expensive pink fizz, looking at the stage. The businessman was looking at me. Curiosity or boredom? Either way, I didn't like it. I left through a door that said staff only. Same attitude that used to get me in trouble back at school. Manager's office. Fat chairs, full whiskey bottles, and empty.
You from the council, love?
RSPCA.
I was in an observation room. Glass panels allowed me to look down into a roulette table. From below, they'd look like mirrors. No doubt someone sat up here checking that no one cheated or maybe won too heavily. Right now, the room below was empty, except for a heavy-set man in his 40s lying unconscious on the roulette table. Raven, my prospective purchase. Was I supposed to pick him up? I need to get down there somehow.
Hurry up, we have to go.
It was Jay, moving fast. He picked up Raven like he was a child and carried him out. Now I really had to get down into that office. The observation room was empty, except for the heavy old typewriter. Straight through the roulette wheel. I followed it down.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the police are checking the premises. Please remain in your seats. Please stay where you are.
Wonderful. And I'd torn my trousers on the broken glass.
Acme Cutting Rooms, good morning.
Toby's birthday.
Lucky boy. Hold, please.
Yes?
A bit of a problem, Mr. Dolby.
Go on.
Jay had Raven at the club, then moved him. Then the police raided the place.
You didn't get involved.
No, I got out through the lavatory window.
Good.
Someone, I assume Jay, had slipped a syringe in my pocket.
The blue pointy mob was supposed to pick you up with the evidence?
I think so. Why would that be? Did Jay know I was coming? Were the cops waiting?
You're the expert. Now, you'll be doing a job with me next week. And in the meantime, better change your papers. Anything else?
My trousers, sir. Can I claim? Oh. Had I messed it up or had I done what was expected of me? I didn't know. All I did know was that it was a very different kind of game now, where nothing was certain, except that nothing was certain. Oh, and that my new trousers were finished.
I can't find the bag of cement to put my feet into.
Really?
So, where are you taking me, Alice?
To bait a raven trap, I believe. Mr. Dolby asked me to deliver you to the airport. Tickets and new passport in the envelope under your seat.
At the strip club. What happened?
How would I know? I don't go to places like that.
I was pretty stupid, wasn't I?
Try not to stay that way.
Where am I heading?
Beirut, via Rome. You'll find first-class tickets.
First class.
We're not army intelligence, you know. Major Ross isn't your boss anymore. Off you go now, and stay out of the sun. I believe it can be rather hot in Beirut.
Thank you, Alice.
Walking through the shed-like customs building, I noticed in the crowd. I'm sure I noticed Major Ross, my old boss. What was he doing here? A package holiday? We avoided each other. I walked out onto the tarmac and up the steps of the airliner. This time I had come a long way. To a bluff overlooking the road from Beirut to the mountains. It was about 3:30 in the morning. I was cold and I was getting worried about the grenades Dolby had given me. And I was getting bored waiting for the car that was supposed to be carrying Raven. I was the early warning. Dolby was along the road with the snatch team.
Anything?
Nothing. Maybe we should go home.
Maybe you should stay alert and keep watching.
It'll be, Hold it. I've got it. Wide headlamps, probably an American model.
Sounds like our boy. Let him go by and stay in position until I tell you to move, right?
Right. Somehow it would have felt stupid to say over and out. Like playing a game. And then it stopped being a game. And turned into a bad dream. Another car coming. No lights.
Back up. You'll have to stop it.
Now I knew I had the grenades. 3, 4, 5. Dolby was helping a big man from the back of the car he'd stopped earlier. Raven. The driver and the guard weren't moving.
I'm sorry, sir, if you'll just...
Big man looked bemused before the hypo full of morphine sent him to sleep.
Easier to move him this way. The others?
They won't be going anywhere.
You all right?
I hate the smell. Burning flesh, petrol. I hate that smell.
No one ever gets used to it.
I hope not. So who were they?
U.S. Naval Intelligence.
What?
They should have told us what they were doing. Served them right. Bloody amateurs. Come on. We have to move him to the safe house. Adam will be waiting.
Adam? Who the hell is Adam?
He works for us, amongst other people. And it's Adem. Goes back to the 30s. Smuggler. Hashish, then heroin. Refugees, guns, anything you like, till he had a little bit of trouble in the 50s. We bailed him out, and now he works for us.
Amongst other people?
Old man of the mountains, really. Knows everybody, everybody knows him.
My friends, welcome to my humble house.
Ijak Mushi?
Huh? So you know food?
I know good food when I smell it.
Mr. Dalby, so good to see you again. You have the package?
In the back, he's unconscious.
I'll have them move him to a room. You want him watched?
Definitely.
موسى هارون نقلوا فوق للغرفة المأمونة وراقبوا عليه.
Now, come into my house and rest after your night's work. And I will finish my work in the kitchen.
As the sun began to come up, a soft wind blew through the high-ceilinged dining room. The old ancient rugs on the walls stirred slightly. Delicious smells came from the kitchen. So the Americans bought Raven off Jay?
More or less. I think they wanted to interrogate him.
And Jay himself. What's his motivation? Does he operate under any umbrella?
He runs an industrial research unit in Argyll.
Hmm?
Oh, you know where that is?
Hmm?
Where?
Look, forgive me if my lack of ignorance is an embarrassment to you. The canton of Argyll is in the north of Switzerland. The River Aar joins the Rhine there. What kind of research unit?
Synthesized environments.
Okay, now you have lost me.
They study working conditions for migrant labour. If, for instance, Turkish workers go to Germany, they can learn how to operate sophisticated machinery in weeks. And if the Germans build a factory in Turkey, the local workers find it almost impossible to learn anything. They're looking at behaviour modification, basically. It could be very important for industry in the future.
It could be important for us, too.
We have a file on it.
Now we shall eat.
And eat we did, magnificently. First, zambuskis, little crisp pastries containing curried meat. Then Adem divided up a huge joint of lamb with an old pocket knife. We drank arrack and mint tea.
It is good.
You should be careful, Adem, or you'll have a guest for life.
Well, since Adem is a born host, this could be a perfect friendship.
Ah, Mr. Dalby. You should have been the guest of my uncle, Hamid the Lion Killer. He was a man.
I'm the Lion Killer.
It is true. In the year 1928, he faced the lion alone. Only a spear and a cloth wrapped around one arm as protection. He killed the lion and never worked again.
He was injured?
A man who kills a lion, everyone gives him food, whatever he wants.
Are there lions now, Adem?
Not here. To the north, maybe. Many animals there. Ibex and gazelle, leopard. People hunt and they become less each year.
Like your Uncle Hamid?
No, with a gun. Ach, I do not like.
You go north to hunt? Now I was doing it.
I go to watch.
To take photographs, photos?
Just to watch. For me alone. You are tired. You must sleep.
Indeed, we are tired. We must sleep.
Stop it.
We go to bed. After a couple of days, Raven appeared none the worse for wear. He said, most kind, old man, to Dolby, and not a lot else. On the third day, Adem left and returned in a helicopter.
We gave it to him, you know. Prefer not to pay cash for services, so he can't go back into the heroin business.
Do you really care?
I'll be flying out with Raven. You make your own way back. Don't dawdle.
How could I? My expenses haven't come through yet.
You did well. We'll have lunch. Somewhere decent. Wheelers. How does that sound? Bring him out, Moosey!
Creeping under the blades, Dolby led Raven over to the plexiglass dome of the copter. Adem nodded. This man whose uncle had killed a lion, who owned and flew the Alouette 2 like an expert and served perfect lamb with his pocket knife. And I thought, farewell, troublesome Raven. And I thought, I still haven't got those trousers mended yet. Back in London, I continued tracking Jay. But all I ever seemed to find were his footprints in the sand. Never the man himself. Eventually, Dolby took me to lunch, but not until a couple of months had passed, and I was totally confused. Oh, and it was still raining.
Melon's particularly good here, and the lobster. They're renowned for their lobster. Oh.
Is it a specific lobster, or...?
No, don't try to be too clever.
Have to get every little bit of the meat when it's this good.
Absolutely.
Use a little tool to pick it out. Every little...
All right. What do you want?
To stop working in the dark. I understand need to know, but a glimmer of light at the end of the tunnel might be a small help.
Jay?
Jay.
Trained in Jungian psychology at university, left before taking his degree. In 1942, he joined émigré Polish intelligence in London. He earned the Polish VC for his work underground in Cairo, then ran an operation in Poland that was rolled up by the Nazis. Suspicions that he might have betrayed his own people, nothing proven.
When is it?
Lobster, all right?
Fine, the finest.
At the end of the war, he probably did a deal with German army intelligence and came out with enough data to interest the CIA. He worked for them and for MI6, particularly in the areas of industrial espionage. Then it all tails off, though he continues to earn large sums. Pudding?
Of course. In the import-export business.
I would say so. He's realized that if there's anything more valuable than information, it's the mind that holds it.
The biochemist, Raven.
Actually, he was a chemical warfare Johnny.
And I thought he was just another dispensing chemist in a white jacket. Is Jay trying to put something together himself, or just being a delivery boy?
If I had to give an opinion, I'd say creme brulee, but of course you must make your own choice.
I'll go for the cheese.
Yes, they do. Keep a good cheese board. Thank you. And coffee. And brandy.
What'll be celebrating?
You'll be running the department. Now, don't get overexcited. It's only for a few weeks, less if I'm lucky.
Do I get to play with your new IBM card index?
Only when Alice is around. I don't want you messing things up. The information in there...
The IBM was the key to WOOC-P's reputation and power. It enabled Dolby to correlate thousands of separate pieces of information and come up with answers no one else in the country could reach. It was the future. It was one more reason why I wanted to work for him.
Alice?
Coffee, sir.
I didn't contradict her, but the fusion of milk, warm water, and coffee powder that she produced was more like something flushed out of a radiator.
It's the IBM machine.
Yes, I can see that.
I don't seem to be able to get the photos integrated into the system.
You're an awful lot too honest for this work. You better learn who to confide your weakness to before it's too late.
Thank you, Alice.
I'll see what I can do.
She almost cracked a smile, but she didn't, because then it would have been broken, and I suspected she only had the one. Still, it was a start. Was I really in charge? I don't think Alice believed it for a minute, and I increasingly had the feeling that though Dolby had told me a lot, in fact, he'd told me nothing at all. I soon got the hang of the IBM. Actually, it took a couple of weeks, working Sundays, putting up with young Chico who had some sort of theory.
Been looking at the statistics, sir. Jolly interesting, you know. S1s.
Yeah, S what?
Security grade 1s, sir. Like Raven, brains, boffins, scientists, sir.
Go on, if you must.
Well, statistically, it...
As you said.
Well, an awful lot of them seem to gather in the same areas, not work-related.
Related to what?
Short holidays, scientific conventions, I don't know. Generally last a week or two, here or abroad. Paid for by some foundation. All very vague so far, but...
Yes?
Keighley, Special Branch, Scotland Yard.
Yes, Keighley, I know who you are.
Shoreditch Police Station. Interesting call. Traffic violation. Young constable remembered a face. Put a name to it. Called us. Very interesting. No record.
Keighley, get to the point. If he hasn't got a record...
Tagged on CRO files. Inform your department if noted. Also, when stopped, wearing Chief Inspector's uniform.
Listen, Keighley, I want him held at Shoreditch. I'll meet you there as soon as I can get a car.
It's okay, sir. I've got a new Mini. I can drive us.
Are you old enough to drive, Chico?
Well, I should say so, sir.
Careful!
It's all right, sir. Those newspaper vans have rubber mudguards.
I think a red light means stop, but at least look before crossing.
Official business. There we are. A police escort.
Or pursuit. Doesn't it ever stop raining?
Statistically speaking...
No.
Oh, there you are. Your other chaps got here before you. They've already interviewed the suspect.
Go!
Holding cells! Holding cells!
What the hell are you all doing? Keighley!
The key! Where's the bloody key?
Oh, I say.
Murdered in a bloody police station.
Do we know him?
I do now. He was sitting in the bar in the strip club just before he got raided. And he was also in first class on a flight to Beirut. Search him, Chico. I want everything, every bit of fluff, every bus ticket.
Doesn't look the type to be travelling by bus.
Just do it! Keithley, while you still have a job, let's talk to the arresting officer and look at the map.
In 35 years of service.
I want a list of every house locally that our man might have just left. According to the constable, the engine was hardly hot, so he probably hadn't travelled far. Big houses, not too close to the street. Think you can do that, Keithley?
Don't worry, sir. I'll have it, well.
Sir, 20 senior service, £3, 5 shillings and twopence halfpenny, and a clean handkerchief. That's it. Uniform new, no dry cleaning marks, no labels.
I want you out in the street with a walkie-talkie, Chico. We'll patch through some local addresses, look them over. Don't be noticed. You know the kind of thing.
It's raining, sir.
Yes?
Rather hard, and I haven't a Mac.
Soot-caked hedges, puny trees, iron railings, a good-sized garden. Private, where they like it in the suburbs. Local council records had the places empty. Tire tracks in the mud of the drive had it as the place our man had come from. Chico and I decided to force the window at the side of the house.
Inspector, I want your people absolutely still until my signal.
Sir.
Chico, give me a lift. Torch.
Oh, bloody hell. Bloody hell.
Might as well have some light.
Yeah, the place is empty.
I should think so.
Who the bloody hell?
Major Ross, Army Intelligence. Did Keithley give you a call?
Oh, we keep in touch. Empty, you say?
Wouldn't you? Feel of it, smell of it. There's no warm bodies here.
I'll better have the boys give it a once-over, though. Don't want to miss anything.
We won't.
Neither will we, old chap. Want to give your Boy Scouts a signal now?
Send them in, Inspector. Tell them to wipe their boots first.
I see you don't change.
Shall we?
After you. Empty. Whole damn place.
Except for the ladder in the middle of the first floor bedroom. And the removal of the stairs.
Exactly.
Well, why would they cut off the second floor?
My mother always told me never to climb up strange ladders.
Oh, you Secret Service man, you.
I'll go, sir.
I'll go. You can come with me.
I was just thinking the trapdoor is rather small.
It's fine.
Do you need the torch?
No, there are lights.
Well?
It looks like someone knocked out all the walls. Built some kind of partitions. Wooden, small. It could be a film set for Middle European something.
It looks a bit like a private zoo to me. A friend of mine owns one.
What kind of friends have you got, Chico? No, don't tell me. There's a large water tank up here.
Oh, something in there, sir.
Well? Oh, come on, what is it?
Bits of a tape recorder. All the outside windows are bricked up. I don't know.
It's a jolly good zoo, actually, sir.
Chico, check the outside. Look at everything. The bins, the gutters, the shrubbery, any garden sheds.
But I'm soaked. I could catch my death, sir.
Off you go.
Next day, I was called to see Ross at Whitehall. For once, it was fine, and Big Ben was striking 3 like a sound effect.
Not missing the old place, then?
I prefer Soho. The delicatessens sell better coffee beans.
There are no delicatessens in Whitehall.
Well, there you go, then. What can I do for you, Major?
A can of film they picked up at that house. Thought you might like to see it.
They?
The special brass. Keatley. With Dalby away and you running the show, as it were, I wondered, you see...
This was unlike the Ross I knew. What did he want? Money? Information?
Well, look, old boy, I've a file on Egypt. NASA, agent in place, so to speak. It's a very nice resource. Anybody glad to have it?
You're selling it?
Military intelligence just doesn't have the money to run our agent anymore. Cutbacks. You know how it is.
You mean that my department should buy the file and the operation from your department?
I wouldn't offer it to anybody, you understand?
Like the Russians who might really want it.
Dalby wouldn't be so Boy Scoutish about it all.
You never liked me. You were glad to get rid of me. I'm not and never was one of you. After all, the only land my father owns is the 10-foot garden in his back-to-back in Burnley. The one with the outside toilet and whippet kennel.
Oh, please yourself.
Nothing touches you, does it, Ross? You think you're bloody impervious.
Here we are, screening room. Chico, young fellow, my lad, why don't you run the film for us?
Okie dokie, artichokey, Major.
Good boy, Chilcot Oakes. Went to school with my eldest.
What the hell was Chico doing in Ross's lair? And what the hell was this film about? Grainy, silent footage of men in a room. Well-dressed, middle-aged, and not a lot more. I decided to pay Inspector Keatley a visit.
Coffee?
Not unless you want to get done for false pretenses.
The canteen send it up.
Send it back down. What do you mean by giving that film to Ross? You liaise with WOOC-P, not military intelligence. I don't care what Ross promises you. Information comes to us first.
I did save you something. Magnetic tape. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, please, Inspector.
Could be human voices or voice. So the boffins say.
Oh, the boffins. Thank you, Keatley. Unlace it, I'll take it with me. Don't want it to go missing, do we? Apart from the tape and the film, both pretty obscure. The house was empty of anything, including fingerprints. Good housekeeping? Nothing left around, not even the fat man we'd arrested. Somehow they'd been able to kill him inside a police station. If Jay was this confident and I was this confused, where did that leave me? With a big fat nothing and... Cappuccino and a raisin Danish. What the hell was Chico up to? Canoodling, as he'd have called it, with Ross. What was Ross up to, trying to sell me top-secret documents? I was beginning to feel as stupid as everyone thought I was, and... Ye gods, who is she?
Alice said I'd find you here.
Clever Alice. Have you come for the audition? Royal Ballet or just the chorus line at the Palladium?
You asked her.
I never ask Alice anything. She's programmed to say no.
Not this time. And yes, I will.
Will what?
Have a coffee. Black. I'm your new assistant.
She was right, as well as being good and beautiful. I'd asked Alice to find me an assistant. Clever Alice. Black coffee.
Jean Tonneson.
Where did you come from?
I was already with Dalby, holding down the Macau sub-office. Only I suppose that now you're running us, it isn't Dalby's anymore.
I don't believe it. He's only away temporarily, as far as I know.
I brought my transfer card.
Any languages you don't speak? Clearance GH7, in which case you should know better than to hand over classified files in a coffee shop.
And you should know better than to read them.
Can you sew? I have a pair of trousers.
Buy a new pair. Use expenses, claim ADOP urge.
Anyway, you'd better put it back in your bag with that snub-nosed 22 automatic.
Oh, I've got that tucked into my garter. The flare pistol's in the handbag.
Fine. Now, your first mission, Miss Tonneson, is to accompany me to lunch at Terrazza. Mario has a special way with martinis.
So, John Le Carre was wrong. It's not all shabby Max and betrayal.
No Max, but I don't know about betrayal. She was beautiful and smart, and as a taxi passed, I was sure I saw Dolby's profile and the looming back of her head that looked like Jay. Only spring was in the air, and Mario Zuba de Lentique was better than ever. And back at the office, Chico was on the phone. Yes?
Hello, sir. It's me.
I know who it is, Chico. The calls are logged.
Of course, sir. I'm in Grantham.
What? What are you doing in Grantham? Who signed your expenses?
I did, sir.
Well, you needn't think that...
But, sir, it's important.
You wouldn't have waltzed off if Dolby had been here, would you?
I've seen him.
Seen who?
Mr. Dolby. I recognize this fellow. In the film Major Ross showed us. From the house. A friend of my cousin, frightfully good at chemistry. Top man. Mr. Dolby said I should come down to Grantham, you see.
Okay, indulge me, Chico. Why Grantham?
That's where he lives. Mr. Dolby. Said we should keep it all hush-hush. Give us the edge, sir. Only there are some requisitions I haven't filled in, and I know Alice...
I know Alice too, Chico. She'd probably fill at you.
Well, I thought you should know, sir.
Thank you, Chico. Ring in tomorrow. Let me know what Mr. Dolby thinks.
And the requisitions?
He didn't fill in the requisitions.
I'll do them, Alice.
You have a meeting of the Joint Intelligence Committee this afternoon?
I'll do them, Alice.
Very well.
Well, that's what I call a personal assistant. Thank you, Alice. That'll be all for now.
Don't forget the blue folder when you leave, sir.
You know, I think she's beginning to thaw a little.
Like the iceberg that sank the Titanic.
What was she saying, my new and brilliant assistant? Did she know something I didn't? Not hard. It was beginning to look like everyone knew something I didn't. I just hoped it wasn't the same thing and that they weren't all laughing behind my back. I went to the meeting where Major Ross was uncommunicative. By the time I got back to Charlotte Street, it was almost 8, and the top floor was empty except for a light showing under my office door and the boards creaking under the weight of...
Don't move! Hands above your heads! This thing is loaded.
But not much use still stuck in your trouser pocket.
Dolby.
You all right?
Yeah. Just a bit jumpy. I didn't expect...
Whiskey? Ever seen a bomb explode?
Of course.
A big bomb?
No.
Well, you're going to now. The minister has particularly asked for us to be at the next American test. I believe we have some of the British scientists there on file.
Chico has in those statistics of his.
Statistics? Too many numbers, not enough common sense. Have a word about those statistics. Now, the test is on Tuesday, on Tokwe. It's one of those Pacific atolls they have. You can take an assistant if you like.
Did he mean Jean? Did he even know about it? You want Chico to come too?
Yeah, get him on the phone. He can arrange tickets.
Do you know where I can get him?
And who exactly has been in charge here for the last few weeks?
But Chico's away, seeing...
Why? Where? Who sent him?
I don't know why he was playing it like this, but I decided to cover for Chico. We had a file to deliver to Portsmouth and no courier.
Then you'd better get Alice onto the tickets. At least they'll be done right. Anything else? No? Good night, then.
I brought some lightweight shirts and a snappy white suit. Thought I might as well look the part.
It's so big.
That's just the way they do things.
Big things. This place was a desert island 3 months ago. Now it's a city.
But won't it all be destroyed when they do the test?
No, the shot tower, which is where the actual bomb goes up, is on another island surrounded with instruments. They'll monitor them all from here, though.
Been reading up, have we?
Just looking at the brochures.
I dare say they'll explain it all. Love to do that. The Americans show everyone how.
Colonel Dolby?
Colonel?
Well, there you guys are. We've been looking all over for you. G'day, ma'am. Ryan Battersby, I'm your scientific liaison for this little number. Sounds like something, don't it? But ain't nothing much. I'm just here to point you at the cold beers.
That sounds like a very good idea, Mr. Battersby.
Oh, Ryan, please. Oh, but you guys hate cold beer, don't you?
We're ready to learn, Ryan.
Come on, then. Hop aboard and we'll see what we can do with those British thirsts. Buddy of yours here, Colonel Henderson.
Skip. And the Colonel now. What did he do?
Don't know. But maybe you should listen what he says.
What do you mean?
Or maybe you shouldn't be here at all, buddy. Okay, folks, hang on to your hats. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
I'd never met him before, but Battersby didn't like me. Still, he provided cold beers, which even Dolby enjoyed. And the briefing, which was cool and complex and none of us liked.
Hit a lump of uranium-235 with a uranium-235 bullet at sufficient speed and you get Hiroshima. Implode a hollow ball of plutonium with conventional high explosives and you get Nagasaki. You also get what we think the Russians have. These and their like are what we call fusion bombs. Old, slow, messy, and way out of date. Now this here little critter is as trendy as Carnaby Street in little old London, England, and as cheap as one of your mini cars. Standard U-238, easier, less expensive than 235, hollow core, no HE, but a super high voltage micro flash which builds up enough heat to detonate and produce high yield destruction. No HE equals one very clean bomb. 50 megatons could take out everything between Santa Fe and Los Lunos, or help out our British friends here between South End and Reading, Berkshire.
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather stick to Santa Fe and Los Lunas.
Help out, you can stick to anything you want.
Across the room, I could see Skip Henderson. He didn't look any happier than I was feeling.
Now, we're going to be monitoring the explosions on any number of levels and frequencies. We'll also be running a new system which will, we hope, jam Russian attempts to monitor the test.
Do you expect Russian activity, Colonel Battersby?
Colonel? Looks like everyone had a rank except me.
Do you expect bears to crap in the woods? Okay, gentlemen, that's it. You will receive your individual schedules later. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. That was very informative.
My pleasure.
I have an appointment with friend Battersby. Why don't you two take a general recce?
Very good, Colonel.
Oh, just a convenience. Makes it easier to ask for things.
So how come I didn't get a rank?
Because no one listens to corporals.
Very funny.
I thought so.
Hey, you son of a gun, where you been hiding this delightful young lady? May I introduce myself, ma'am?
Gene, this is Skip. What you have to understand, Gene, is that this man is utterly, totally untrustworthy.
Hey!
I thought you were all untrustworthy.
Black label. There you go, Gene. Yours without ice.
Thank you.
So, Gene, you and this pirate here reckoned on catching a little sunshine at John Government's expense, huh?
It's just that I have so many unsolved crimes in my hands that I've become the expert. Anyone with an unsolved crime, they send for me.
And you solve them.
Nope, I just file them.
Well, you better have a giant-sized file with you this trip. I can't give you the whole picture because we haven't put it together yet.
You're losing material.
Smart lady. No sooner do we make an advance in our labs than it's broadcast to the other side of the world.
From labs, strictly scientific then?
At present.
The volume of leaks is increasing?
Fast enough to get everyone worried.
It's a multiple leak.
Oh. Sure, this isn't just one university department or a couple of labs. This is another drink.
He took his eyes off Jean, where they'd been stuck since we arrived.
Yes, but a small one.
Yeah, sure.
And looked, unconsciously, at the rose of the ceiling light. Or maybe it wasn't unconscious at all. And he was letting me know the whole conversation was winding around the spools of someone's tape recorder right then.
Sorry, I don't have any warm sherry. I know you Brits prefer that before dinner.
This is lovely, Skip.
How long have the leaks been active?
We think about 8 months. Civilian as well as military.
Any leads at all?
It's going. We can't stop it. You remember Hank Goodrich? We used to all get drunk together in Berlin. Well, Hank's looked over the whole damn thing, front to back, and he's foxed. And that's all she wrote. Sorry I can't join you guys. Duty calls, you know?
Oh, yes, duty. We're as well called by...
Texas-style hamburgers.
What else?
What else? Well, I like your friend Skip. Only, he did seem a little held back, as if...
Go on, say it.
I don't really know what I was going to say.
You know, so say it. We could use a few extra opinions as things are.
Hey, can a fella get a light for his stogie around here?
Making with the native costume.
It looks very...
colourful.
And I prefer to think of it as camouflage.
It might be if you were hiding in a Hawaiian pineapple plantation.
You're sure I'm not intruding?
Gema's going to give me her opinion of Skip Henderson.
I would be most interested to hear it.
almost frightened.
No, Skip, never. That man went to Korea and let himself get captured, just to see who was collaborating in prison camps. Skip's not frightened of anything in this earth.
I agree. Not frightened of, but frightened for.
I don't know. Henderson has done a lot of stupid things in his life. Maybe he's old enough now to try and behave well enough to keep his rank.
Which means keeping away from old friends like me.
People change. If he'd be more sensible, he'd be a major general. Now, what do you recommend from the cocktail menu?
Well, you could start with a Manhattan, or a Tockway twist, or a mint julep.
No, I think a martini, very cold, very dry, with just a twist of lemon. In fact, why don't you order 3? We could make a night of it. I'll be dashed if I've ever encountered such a mordant pair.
You can't say dashed in a Hawaiian shirt.
Or with a cigar stuck in the side of your mouth. Besides, all those time zones, I'm exhausted. I think I'll get an early night. Or is it mid-afternoon?
So that's 2 martinis. I'll get him. Dolby looked relaxed, sitting there in his coloured shirt. Jean seemed concerned. Me, I was remembering what Skip had said about our old buddy.
Hank Goodrich. We used to all get drunk together in Berlin.
I didn't know anyone called Hank Goodrich. I don't think Skip did either. Things had been funny for a long time, but I still hadn't worked out what the joke was going to be. The morning heat rocketed back from the burning sand underfoot. The red painted girders that formed the shot tower blistered the careless hand. Huge black cables snaked everywhere, and up on top was 50 megatons of plutonium, waiting to be shocked into life.
Hi, Vickers Engineering. I have a permit to inspect the refrigeration installations on levels 2 and 3.
Now, let me see. Yeah, okay, just watch your step.
I shot up for 200 feet, then came to an abrupt stop. I could see Tockway Atoll and its thousands of monitoring towers and tracery of electric cables way across the water. Below me, technicians scurried, and in front of me, a master sergeant in the U.S. Army stepped out of the girders and pointed.
32 Smith & Wesson with a silencer. Not your normal sidearm for a sergeant.
But then I ain't no normal sergeant. And I just better be right about you, pirate.
Well, Skip, you're right about the shot tower being manufactured by Goodrich Steel. So why don't you, put the shooter down and tell me what's on your mind?
You are.
How nice.
Don't fool. I'm sticking my neck out, but I can rack it back in fast. We knew each other once, but people change. Have you?
Probably. One morning you wake up and you find all your old friends are different. They've turned into the sort of people you used to despise. And you start worrying about yourself.
You should.
Because you're still pointing a silence police special in my face?
You know what the hottest piece of merchandise on this island is?
The bomb.
You, Buster. You're bugged, you're strapped down, you're pickled. The word is you've walked away. Have you? Did you put a down payment on a dacha outside Moscow with some old stuff you had anyway? Just tell me.
Just tell you? I got flown halfway around the world for you to finger me on a bomb platform, and I'm supposed to just tell you?
Listen, if anyone knew I was here now, today, I'd be DED. I'm greasing the skids to the morgue, just coming within loud hailer distance of you.
So why aren't you buying a ticket for my funeral?
Because after some time in this business, you start to think you can judge character.
Thanks.
And I'm the only character around here that'd give you half a chance. Even that girl is sort of convinced. No, don't thank me. Just forget you saw me and get out of here.
Skip, I need to think.
You don't have time, and neither do I. I have to go.
The gun.
You ain't gonna shoot your way out of this one, pal.
Anyway?
Sure. Stick it in your sock. Oh, and don't go sobbing to your new boss.
Dobby's convinced too.
He went down the ladder fast. I gave him time to get clear. And I thought about Jean. Did she really think I was a traitor? Did anyone? It seemed crazy. But then, we were in a crazy business. I looked down, Skip was gone. I followed him. I needed to find Jean, and I needed to know. What did I need to know? I found her looking cool in the WAC officer's summer dress. She was listening to half a dozen U.S. aircrew casually spilling classified information in her direction. I caught her eye. She slipped away. Drink?
No, thank you.
I think it might be poisoned.
I think there has to be a limit as far as personalities go.
Could you explain that?
I don't think I can, really. But what it means is that I don't switch allegiances easily. Nor do I like to answer to groups or to their opinions.
You may be making a big mistake.
I don't think so. And I'll show you why, if you've an hour or so to spare.
Where are we going?
For a drive.
So let's do a retake on that. Where are we going?
I love these big convertibles. Makes me feel like a film star. What are you doing?
Radio direction finder. It means that any vehicle on the island can be monitored. Everything has one here. I'll shove it in a Kleenex box that might muffle it a bit. So?
Far end of the island.
And why?
Wait and see.
You know, I once suffered under the delusion that I was your boss.
And I'll be your chauffeur. Sit back, enjoy the scenery. It's not everyone who gets to visit a desert island.
Not everyone who gets marooned on one.
Last night I was up here with Dolby. He took me along so if anyone passed it would look like a petting party. I was left in the car. Now I want to see the part I missed.
World War II.
What?
This is one of the old landing beaches. Landing craft in the Pacific campaign against the Japanese. Barbed wire, the tank, the pillbox. With Dolby's footprints in the sand leading up to it.
That's where he went.
You want to look? I mean, if you don't mind spiders. Very big spiders and...
You look.
Old ammunition boxes. More boxes. More. Okay. Hold on.
You're covered in web.
You don't have to worry about the ones that spin webs. It's the hunters.
Why would anybody leave a cathode ray tube and transistors out here?
Or an envelope with Russian script.
What does it say?
It looks like very low frequency wavelengths, and if this doesn't mean neutron bomb, then my name's Sean Connery.
But it's not a neutron bomb, it's just an ordinary device.
You tell me.
Maybe you should tell me what you're going to do about it.
Burn the wavelengths and leave the rest.
Could you? And with that stuff?
Use it to piggyback the flare pattern of a neutron bomb explosion to a submarine sitting offshore. Yes. Look, Gene, you can go and get in the car and drive away, or you can tell me what Dolby's been saying. No pressure, your choice.
MI6 thinks you're working for the Russians, the KGB. They told the CIA direct and everyone's pretty steamed up. The CIA say you killed a couple of US naval intelligence men in Lebanon. Did you?
It was an accident. There was nothing anyone could do. I mean, what do they want? I should ring up Jackie Kennedy to apologize.
They were wondering if Chico was your contact.
That idiot.
Suppose that whoever thinks you're working for the Soviets, suppose they want to stop you. What would they do?
That's something no one in this business ever thinks about.
But if you had to?
Slip your feet into this bag of wet cement. The boat's just leaving. It's getting chilly. We'd better leave too.
The next 2 days were frantic as technicians worked to get the bomb ready. I was allowed to go anywhere but see absolutely nothing. I was about to explode when Dolby bought me a martini in the officers' club.
If there's one thing I admire about Americans, it's their martinis. Very cold, very dry. Cheers.
I could say the same for myself. Being held on ice for what?
Just another couple of days. They've got tabs on someone very senior. They didn't want to spook him, so they put you in the spotlight.
I'm a decoy duck.
Exactly.
As long as I'm not a dead duck.
Not on my watch. Just look like you're suffering.
Hard to do with a perfect martini. But I'll work on it. As it was, I worked on routine reports and kept myself out the way. Did I trust Dolby? I think it.
Yes?
There's been an accident out at the forward observation point. Your friend Skip Henderson. Get down to the car park now.
It was one of those utterly dark nights with low cloud you only get in the South Seas. Dolby had left. I grabbed a jeep and followed his lights. We were heading out toward one of the big TV observation towers. The sway of high-tension cables looped away in my headlights. They were easier to follow than Dolby's rear lights, which kept jumping in and out of vision. In and out. And out. The tower came into sight. I stopped, lit a cigarette, and saw a pair of heavy insulation gauntlets in the seat beside me. I was just wondering what anyone would use them for when the sky exploded into daylight. Except neither daylight nor I had been anywhere near so bright lately. In their floodlights, I could see a dead soldier hanging from the tower guardrail. I could see the high-tension wires attached to the same rail. I guess I knew what the insulation gauntlets were for now.
Comfortable, son? I know some of those boys can be kind of rough.
What?
Oh, come again? I didn't quite catch that.
What do you want?
Are you sure you're comfortable, son?
A little bit woozy.
Yeah, well, that'll be all the chemicals they pumped into you. Help the memory, they say. Me? I prefer the old-fashioned method. Never did me any harm. Now, son, how about you tell me about what happened?
I don't know what happened.
I think you do.
I really don't know.
Steve Marsh. Now, what did he ever do?
Who the hell is Steve?
No profanity, if you please. Corporal Steve Marsh was the man you electrocuted on the TV tower. The one you needed to send the TV signal to the Russian sub we monitored offshore last night when we inserted the neutron device into the bomb. Yeah. Getting there, are we?
So it was a neutron bomb.
Do not try my patience, son. Well, this is so easy, I'm not even breaking a sweat here.
There was an accident, Dolby. Call Dolby. I followed him out to the tower. He said he was going to come...
Let me show you something. Now, we got the whole island covered. Every vehicle is monitored, you know that. Show me another car out there last night, huh? Look! Show me!
The sheets had only one trace. My Jeep. Where the hell was Dolby's car? Come to think of it, where the hell was Dolby? Look, why would I want to transmit information on your bomb to a Russian sub?
Why? Son, 'cause you're a communist spy, that's why. You got it from your pop, didn't you? I hear he was a Union man. Now, would that be the, Soviet Union? You're just dirty, son. Just plain dirty. And if I had my way, you'd be history. As it is, I gotta hand you over. They fixed up some kind of exchange.
Dolby. Thank God he was somewhere.
Couple of U.S. pilots.
Why pilots? The British wouldn't have any...
The British? They want to see the back of you as much as we do. It's your commie buddies, the goddamn Hungarians. So enjoy your goulash, and good luck, goodbye, and good night.
Mars predicts the inevitable fall of socialism.
I came up to the surface very, very slowly. From the deep darks, I floated towards the rippling surface of life. A small cell. Wet concrete floor. A watch broken. Feeling sick. Listening hard. Nothing. Then... Then silence. Then night. Then day. Then porridge of some kind. And water. Which tasted chemical. They were feeding me drugs, but it was still water. And day and night and... It was always the same man.
Sky is blue, earth is black.
So what?
It didn't take a lot to hurt me by then.
Fire is red, cloud is white.
And he hurt me a lot.
Okay, so?
Sand is yellow, silk is soft.
Maybe I should get you a linguaphone.
Stone is hard, water is green.
I went through all the stages.
Salt is pain, white is blue.
The wisecrack stage. The asking questions stage. The do you speak English stage.
Wood is brown. Paper is grey.
I was weak, cold, tired unto death.
Sky is blue, earth is black.
Sky is blue, earth is black. Thank you. Thank you.
On the day I got it right, he gave me a cigarette. I wept for an hour without feeling sad. The process seemed more about breaking me down than finding anything out. Then I had a visitor.
Basically, old fellow, not to put too fine a point on it, the embassy, well, I'm sure you understand, deniability, after all, the situation, and the Foreign Office simply can't. The Hungarians want to stage a trial, you see, and, well, this is the, indictment, and it's politics, really. Oh, one bit of advice before I go. Try not to get sent to a political prison. They treat people very badly. And, be like Dad, eh? Keep mum.
He went away.
Grass is hard. Stone is pink.
Leave me alone.
Sea is yellow. House is soft.
With a paperclip, I'd slipped off his documents.
House is soft.
House is soft. House is soft.
Paperclip is hard. Hungarian locks are soft. Some kind of lecture room for secret policemen. It was dark, but I found an empty pack of Bellamore cigarettes. I took out the silver wrapping paper and flattened it under a light bulb. Just a matter of turning on the light, confusing the system. I was weak. I had to get out fast. After that, the alarms must have fused as well. Thank God for it. Trees grew up the walls. Gardens stretched away in the darkness. I could feel everything slipping away. I had to get over.
tripwires, man traps. I couldn't move.
Oi! What are you up to, mate? Them was my bloody runner beans.
Yeah, a room, please.
£2.10 in advance. Got any luggage? Lift's out of order.
It was that kind of hotel. No questions asked. Questions. Had I known all along I was being held in North London, in a house virtually identical to the one we'd searched a few months before. I've no doubt there was a water tank there somewhere for sense deprivation, too. The perfect setup for brainwashing, and one thing I did know. If I hadn't got out when I did, I would have started to believe I was in Hungary. I would have believed whatever they told me to believe.
Hello? Hello?
Skipjack Electronics. Miss Tonneson? Apologies for ringing so late, but your television will be ready for collection at 12:30 tomorrow.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll drop by.
She didn't seem to mind that tomorrow was Sunday. Could I trust her? Well, I couldn't do it alone. It was as much as I could manage to get in a hot bath and lie there soaking for a few hours. I needed to see Dolby, find out what was happening, find out lots of things. But first I needed... I stood waiting by the roadside. This was a fallback contact point I'd established with Jean. Would she come alone, or would men in raincoats appear out of the crowd and...
I hope you managed to fix the vertical hole.
What?
On the television. It's a real bother when the picture rolls.
I was bloody well incarcerated.
Don't swear. I know.
You knew?
Dolby was frantic. Well, as frantic as he ever gets. It was Jay. He wanted to sell you back to us.
Why didn't you pick him up and get me out?
And Dolby said they couldn't find him, and they didn't want to risk Jay's people bumping you off.
That's what he said? Bumping me off?
He thinks it makes him one of the boys. Where are we going, by the way?
Guildford. I have to speak to Dolby, find out what the hell is going on here.
They wanted £40,000 for you. Jay has someone in the US Medical Corps. That's how they snatched you from the island.
Look, thanks for coming. Does anyone else know you're here?
No.
Good, let's keep it that way for now. See what Dolby says. Maybe it'd be best if I stayed out of sight.
From the state you're in, I'd say it would be a very good idea.
Stay with the car.
Sunday in suburbia. You could have started a war and nobody would have noticed. Big houses and tall fences. Dolby liked his privacy. He also enjoyed entertaining. I could see a little group in the drawing room. Dolby pouring whiskey for a man who knew that the sky was red and silk was soft. Then turning to someone else. It took me a moment to recognize Jay. I edged closer and...
Don't move. You understand I don't want to use violence, but I will.
I don't know what you bastards think you're up to.
It's all right, sir. It's me, Chico.
I don't know how you're mixed up in this, Chico, but if you want to get out of it, put the gun down and put yourself under my orders.
Actually, sir, I'm in it because I'm with MI5, and I think you'd better put yourself under my orders.
You knew about Dolby and Jay.
We had him...
Are you all right?
Better than Chico. Where did you learn to wield a spanner like that?
Chico? My God, it is. What's he doing here?
Hang on, they're moving inside. Get him out of sight and head back to the car before this turns into a Marx Brothers farce.
Move! Later, then. Just be careful. I'm always careful, my friend.
Follow that car.
What?
The Black Rolls Royce.
I can see it, I just can't believe it.
What?
Anything Dolby, Jay, Chico actually working for MI5, it's all so...
Don't lose it.
What about Mr. Dolby?
Chico will wake up soon enough. His people will do what's necessary.
And Jay?
That's what I want to find out. Jay. All the way through it's been Jay.
You knew that?
I saw him in a taxi with Dolby months ago. I didn't quite believe my eyes. But then I didn't quite not believe them either. He's taking a left.
I can see he's taking a left.
Where did you learn to swing a spanner like that?
I grew up in Norway.
And?
And I think he's heading for the South Circular Road.
It's a Phantom 4.
So?
The Rolls only sell them to royalty and heads of state. Very Jay.
Is it? What do we really know about him?
He's an educator. Maybe I should say a re-educator. And you were right.
About what?
He is heading for the South Circular.
I know. Stay with the car.
You have a radio in there?
This isn't James Bond.
Then wait in the phone box. If I'm not out in 30 minutes, call Keatley at Special Breaths.
Wilco.
What?
Just be careful.
Come through. I'm in the kitchen.
A 40-foot living room, ankle-deep in long, tufted carpet. Furnished with antiques. On the walls, Rothko, Hitchens. In the chairs, two men with 9mm automatics nodding me on through. I'd been expected. I guess no one surprised Jay, ever.
You are interested in cooking?
He looked older than I remembered, but then so did I. He was holding a lobster in one hand and a bottle of Moet and Chandon in the other.
I could get interested.
That's right.
Didn't Lao Tzu say, govern the empire as you would cook a little fish?
And Montaigne. Great men pride themselves on knowing how to prepare a fish for the table.
But did he mean it as a compliment?
The lobster is dead already. I just can't bear killing things.
Oh, so much better to persuade them. Perhaps you could work on persuading the lobster to climb into its own pan and turn up the temperature.
Champagne? I only need half a bottle for the recipe.
Thanks.
You're a very cool young man. I run a very big business.
I know.
Bigger than you know. You in your business sell loyalty. I sell people. Pass those peppercorns, huh?
Jay. Egg thief, bully of birds, raider of crops.
I deal in talented men changing employment. I am what you might call a talent scout. Thank you.
For the Kremlin?
For employers seeking employees.
I wonder if it isn't time to talk about that house in Shoreditch. Or the establishment where I was a guest.
Did they treat you badly?
I was getting to like it, only I couldn't afford to keep up the payments.
Limited control of what? Subversive elements? Would that describe it?
No, brainwashing would do better.
My dear boy, if brainwashing had been around at the time of Joan of Arc, she would have had a happy old age. How much better to make a man believe differently. No treachery then, but loyalty to a new cause. Loyalty freely given.
So he might go back to work in his lab or in his unit and start sending information to whatever you made him believe in that isolation tank of yours or in a faked-up Hungarian jail.
The application of psychology. The world will be different. Business, politics, science. Belief itself will become a commodity. No one will be beyond the powers of our persuasion.
And if they are?
And sometimes even reasonable men have to stoop to crime. I have processed more than 300 people and never failed. One day all criminals will be brainwashed into law-abiding citizens. It's the future.
Who killed that corporal on the island, Jay?
We all did. We have visitors.
Actually, Dolby did. He used a motorbike with a fake tailboard to make me think I was following a car. That's why he didn't show up on the tracking device. He set me up.
We were getting close. We needed something to throw to CIA, MI5. Yes, let them in. But tell them I'm already in custody.
What do you believe in, Jay?
Governments come and go like clouds. Now, clocks, they go on working no matter what. Belief, character, soon they'll just be cosmetics, something we put on in the morning. I believe in Ipcress.
What?
Induction of psychoneurosis by conditioned reflex with stress. Do you know the Jesuit motto? Give me a child for 5 years and he's mine for life. Give me a top scientist or politician for 2 weeks and he'll be mine for life.
I'd never been pleased to see Ross before, or Keatley.
Ah, there you are. Keeping busy, I hope?
Pretty much. I take it you know, Jay.
Well, not as well as I'm going to. You'll go with the inspector here, please.
Certainly. I look forward to our next meeting. Perhaps we might share the meal then, huh?
What was that all about?
Homard de la broche. Shall I serve?
Why not? Do you come here often?
I know the chef. It's good to be back. What I didn't know...
You're late. Would you take the coffee through?
Alice, who were you working with? Dolby or...
Major Ross likes a biscuit. Perhaps you take the packet.
You got the hang of the IBM machine, then?
That's what it was all about, really. Collation of information. Power. Control.
That's what Dolby wanted. Every scrap of information under his fingertips. He would have done anything to get it.
Well, setting you up as a scapegoat was actually quite clever. You annoy people. Too clever by half.
And none of the right schools or clubs.
Happy to see the back of you. Good riddance. Then they would have carried on, brainwashing scientists, garnering information, selling it, hoarding, using it. It's the new currency.
You picked it up when Raven went missing.
Exactly. If we hadn't, they'd have brainwashed the poor chap and had him back in the lab in a couple of weeks. That's why Dolby needed to get Raven back and make you look like the traitor.
You didn't believe it?
Oh, I thought it quite possible. You grammar school boys are capable of anything. But when you turned down the Egyptian dossier, I thought either you were very clever indeed, or still straight.
Oh, thanks. Dolby wanted control. What about Jay? What did he really want?
You can ask him. Come.
The young lady gave me a cup of something she said was coffee. She was wrong.
You're free.
Actually, if you look at my new contract, you'll find them rather expensive, but very good value.
Where are you going?
Urgent appointment.
Wait, just one moment.
2 apple Danish, 2 cappuccino. What is it?
It's Jay.
Trouble?
He's invited us to dinner. Says he'll cook the lobster himself.
Are we going?
I'd like to, but I don't think so. Not wise to make too many close friends in this business.